This is a HeadGum podcast.
Folks, it's time to get Quip. Me and Joe do it. It makes toothbrushing easy. Brushing your teeth, just like making love. It's the kind of thing you don't really know if you're doing it right till you start doing it right. And folks, Quip is brushing done right. It's the new electric toothbrush that packs just the right amount of vibrations into a slimmer design at a fraction of the cost of bulkier traditional electric brushes. It has guiding pulses that alert you when to switch sides, making brushing just the right amount of effortless. It's true, you really don't have to think about it. It lets you know when to move on to another quadrant of your mouth. Quip also comes with a mount that suctions right to your mirror and unsticks to use as a cover for hygienic travel anywhere, whether it's going in your gym bag or your carry-on. And because the thing that cleans your mouth should also be clean, Quip subscription plan or subquiption plan, surprised they didn't think of that, I'll have to let them know, refreshes your brush on a dentist-recommended schedule. They deliver new brush heads every 3 months for just $5, including free shipping worldwide. Quip's backed by a network of over 10,000 dental professionals, including dentists, hygienists, and dental students. Most toothbrushes don't get named one of Time Magazine's best inventions of the year, but Quip did. It's time to find out for yourself why. Quip starts at just $25, and if you go to getquip.com/CU right now, you'll get your first refill pack free with a Quip electric toothbrush. That's your first refill pack free at getquip.com/CU. GETQUIP.com/CU. Folks, it's going to be love at first brush.
Here we are back with another episode of We'll See You in Hell. Take it away, Pat.
Well, all right. Happy Monday, everybody. We got a big one this week, the remake of It. Joe and I saw an early screening. It's very exciting. We got an It, what was it, a 3D viewer? What was that thing they gave us? The worst swag I've ever received?
For a virtual reality headset.
So you look at virtual content online and it springs to life? And it just had a clown on it?
It's just one of those things where, you know, your phone is capable of being a virtual reality screen, but you need to put it in like a headset piece. Okay. So that's the shittiest way to do it, is a cardboard. I mean, if you really want to look like a fucking complete jackass, aside from having virtual reality goggles on your face, they also are adorned with artwork.
Yeah. The two seem to have nothing to do with one another.
Nothing. Movie takes place in 1988. They barely had computers.
Why not a stuffed clown? Wouldn't that have been cool?
Well,
coolest thing I ever got was when I saw Frankenweenie back when I was a movie critic, and they gave you a little Frankenweenie, and it was awesome, like a stuffed Frankenweenie.
Yeah, I will say this thing we went to was referred to as a premiere.
Yeah,
we were off in some goddamn side theater with people that looked like people that I wouldn't have let into the movie on a regular day.
I know. Well, that's what back when you're a critic, like the celebs. Not that it had any celebs, but the stars will walk down the red carpet, and the critics you start to go towards the red carpet, like go into the movie theater, and they'll just grab you back. No, sir, you're over here with these hideous trolls. You can't sit with the famous people. Anyway, folks, but before we get too far into this, I guess I'd like to get on with the show, and at the same time, on with the Joe.
Very nice. Very nice, Pat.
It's getting hard to think of variants on it. I've done them all.
I missed the... I think you circle back around to the old stuff. To
I'll bring it back.
The way a band does.
I hit one that I could not surpass, or I would shatter my vocal. I would have like a polyp on my vocal cords. I went too far once, and
you gotta get back to your roots with this thing.
But anyway, we went to the It premiere. I I'm running a Warner Brothers show. I have an assistant, so I was like, look, I don't ask you to do anything. I've never asked him to pick up my dry clean. I've never asked him to do one thing for me. I go, get me into this fucking It. It's a Warner Brothers movie. I run a fucking Warner Brothers show. Get me into this fucking movie.
Yeah.
And then I threw my iced coffee into his eyes. So then, sure enough, I asked him one day. I think he had probably forgotten the request, to be honest.
Right.
But I asked him, and he's like, yeah, let me check. And then he goes, it's tonight. You want to go? I was like, hell yeah. Text Joe. It's in like 3 hours. Joe had nothing to do.
Yeah, I was psyched.
We were both real pumped. I mean,
and the review, by the way, we won't bleed into the review just yet because we got to do our little segment thing.
Sure.
But we were both we were both pumped and
maybe we were satisfied.
Maybe we weren't.
But maybe
Who knows?
we weren't.
The mystery
that's
remains.
What keeps you hanging on. Cut to an ad. We're going to do like 2 minutes of talk and then another ad.
Pat's Movie Corner.
Pat's Movie Corner. We're getting right into it.
But wait. Shout out to a new friend.
I feel like there's no foreplay anymore in this podcast.
Well, a shout out to a new friend. Pat and I went to a bar after the show.
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as we walked in.
And before the show.
Yes, and before. As soon as we walked into the post bar, very kismet, strange scenario. We went to like 3 bars. They all sucked. Pat was like in the 11th hour was like, "Oh, there's this great place we should go to. I just remembered we're right near it." I said, "Okay, let's go."
Bordner's. Give him a little shout out.
We walk in. First thing I say to Pat, "Hey, that's Dana DiLorenzo from Ash vs. Evil Dead." We ended up meeting Dana DiLorenzo, befriending her, having drinks with her.
Very nice.
She was awesome. We met her friends. 2 of her friends were parents of one of the main kid that plays Bill in It.
Right.
Very strange, like universe evening of everything. And Dana did say, "I want to come on the show."
Should be our first guest.
Yeah, we've never had a guest. I'd like to have her on. I'd like to get Doug Benson on.
Yeah.
I'd like to get the Monster Party guys on.
Full on asked me like over Twitter, like, "Hey, I hear you got to do my podcast. People keep tweeting at me. You want to come on?" Sure, I'd love to. Never heard back.
Remind me to remind Doug.
I feel like that guy's probably got a sharp memory. I don't know why you would need to remind him about it.
The guy that his whole persona is weed.
Yeah, I feel like he's on it. And then I think, as I've told in the show before, 4 years ago, longer than that maybe, when I was working with Pete, he goes,
"Go easy here. He's a friend of Doug's a friend of mine. Go easy."
I'm not going to go hard.
Oh, I didn't. Well, I didn't.
I've never met him.
Just a little prelim.
I think I've told the story in the podcast, but Pete goes, "You got to do Doug Loves Movies. You guys would love each other. You have the exact same sense of humor. You'd love him, and you guys could talk movies. It'd be so fun. Blah blah blah." So he emailed, and I always hate this move, but Pete does it a lot. Emails Doug Benson and CCs me, like, just want to intro you two or whatever. So then he's like, "Doug, Pat is one of my dear friends. He's hilarious. He loves movies. He'd be perfect for your show. He's done comedy, etc." And then Doug writes back, I would like to hope he knew I was CC'd, but maybe he didn't.
Right.
And it was like, "Hey, great. Maybe I'll just start booking all kinds of people I have no idea who they are." Or something to that effect. I was like, well, that was unnecessary.
Well, 2 things. That's very funny. But the second, that's not a shot at you. That's him saying to Pete, "Yeah, don't fucking put me on the spot like that, man."
He probably meant it to just go to Pete. There was no need for me to see that response.
That's. I really think that's all that was.
I wasn't that upset by it.
Well,
I'm
in any
still
case,
talking about it 3 years later.
He's a great man, and we'll let JoJo put a word in for you.
I don't even need to go on it. It's
frequent guest on Doug Loves Movies at this point.
I know.
I won many times, by the way.
Yeah, is it still the same format all these years later?
It's I think it's just the game show, basically. But it's fun. But we went deep the other night when I was on, and I did plug our show. Thank you very much. But we went deep the other night because the last game is like you got to just keep naming movies of an actor.
I could do that forever.
People start tapping out.
I wouldn't tap out.
Johnny Depp and Roger Moore were the 2 actors.
I'd do a lot better with Depp than Moore.
Yes. Well, I lucked out. Nobody could remember the names of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Okay.
So I hit all 5 of those in a row.
And they wouldn't allow you to say 5?
No, you had to say like the full title. In fact, Dan Soder did Sweeney Todd, and it didn't count because he didn't say the
Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
So
that's not right.
But it came down to it came down to everybody tapped out as me versus Benson in the end, and I took it.
What was your winning? Was it Nick of Time?
It wasn't. It was Transcendence. Everybody forgot about Transcendence.
It's a shitty movie.
Yeah.
I didn't even finish that.
I also, nice score with Lost in La Mancha.
Oh, nice. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if, weirdly, I would have counted Sweeney Todd over Lost in La Mancha. It's a documentary.
It's still a movie on an IMDb page.
All right.
It's technically a movie.
So could you say like 21 Jump Street because of his little cameo?
Yep.
Okay.
Also got a nice deep cut with Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare.
Sure.
So
I could almost do his career in order up until he started sucking. I mean, there's few actors I've made a bigger turn on in my life than Depp. I used to just love him, and now you see he's in something, and it's almost a red flag.
He'll be back. He'll come back. Well, Black Mass was great.
Wasn't great.
Joe,
I saw it sitting right next to you. You didn't think that much of it.
I thought it was okay in the theater. I've watched it 2 or 3 times since then, and I really like it now.
All right.
Really grew on me.
All right.
Is that okay?
It's a poor man's Brasco.
Is that okay
it's going
with
for Brasco.
you?
It didn't get there.
Am I allowed to revise my opinion?
Yes.
We should have to review every movie as characters from the movie. So that's the Black Mass character.
I don't remember the Black Mass.
I thought the movie was good in subsequent viewings. We won't be doing that today with it. All right, Pat's Movie Corner. Is that enough foreplay for you? 12 minutes of working your clit?
It did nothing for me. It was a dry, fumbling affair, but yes. As I told Joe, I took my first swing at Redbox. I was out at the grocery store. I was like, you know what? I've had a real hard week. I'm going to watch 3 movies tonight like I used to in the old days. Rent movies at the store.
Right.
It'd be great. And boy, did I strike out. Folks, I got this movie with Woody Harrelson called... What's it called?
Thompson or something like that. Fuck. Yeah, the Gordon.
I never dreamed that I would become this guy, but I...
Is it Gordon?
I guess your memory just goes. No, it's not Gordon. It's... Let me start with another one, and I'll get it.
It's by the guy that did the movie Greenblatt or whatever with Ben Stiller.
Greenblatt?
Greenberg? What was the movie with...
No, it's not by that guy at all.
What's that movie called?
Greenberg.
Greenberg.
But this is not that movie.
I thought it was the same writer-director guy.
No. It's the guy who directed The Skeleton Twins, which was a very overrated movie with Kristen Wiig and Bill Hader. But the guy who wrote it, Mr. Let me bring this up. Wilson. Mr. Wilson. Dennis the Menace style. Daniel Close. So I'm a big fan of Daniel Close's graphic novels. I have this big collection called 8 Ball of his graphic novels. I don't even like graphic novels. One of his long-running comics became the movie Ghost World, which is a favorite of mine. I love the movie Ghost World. He also
did the movie, hate the comic.
Oh, okay.
Because in the movie form, it's quite charming. As a comic book, I'm like, what am I looking at? I'm reading normal people and pictures. It's just I don't like stuff like that.
He also wrote Art School Confidential, which I thought was a very funny movie. Lesser movie, but funny.
Good flick. Dark.
So now he rarely writes shit, and Wilson is based on his graphic novel, and he wrote the screenplay. And I mean, I hope this thing was noted to death, or else this guy's just completely lost his edge, his talent. Just a piece of shit. It was Woody Harrelson, and like, I guess at first he's like in one scene he'll be like autistic, like he'll say something really rude and cutting to somebody, and then the next scene he's like really sweet and like, you know, crying, like sobbing because his dad is dying and stuff. Like it's the most all over the place character I've seen.
And at what point in the movie does he decide to take on an army of apes?
It's a different movie. I think you knew that, Joe.
Hear that forced laugh out of Walt. You're not a fan of that
That's all
bit,
I got.
But I like that bit. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
It's just, I mean, Laura Dern was in it, who is on a real roll these days, and just nothing clicked. He has this estranged daughter who's like a heavy goth girl, and just there isn't a laugh in it. There's The only decent moment is he's coming out of like a bathroom and he gets tangled up in a bunch of balloons.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of, I thought, oh, that's kind of funny. And then when I stopped the movie, they had that as the DVD menu because they were like, oh, make sure you grab the balloon bit. That's the only thing anyone will care about.
Well, it's also a bad scene when the best joke in a movie is like an old Chevy Chase Gerald Ford sketch like thing, you know?
Exactly. It wasn't great.
All right, so that's strike one. What's strike two?
Strike one. Strike two, and I would say, folks, significantly worse than Wilson, which I just shat all over, was Baywatch.
What makes a man of your age, of your status, even push the button? Give me B-15. I want Baywatch.
Because
why would you even try?
Well, the truth is, like everyone, I spent a lot of my adolescence pausing and jerking it off to Baywatch. So as a kid, you're like, when will I be able to see an R-rated Baywatch? What a dream that would be. Then it comes out, I'm like, okay. I want to make something very clear to Hollywood, and I'm sure all the Hollywood executives listen. Because you're not getting it, okay? You need to know that Zac Efron is not funny, and you need to know that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is not funny. So you can't put any buddy comedy two not funny people as the buddies. You have to pair them with somebody who is funny.
Right. I agree with that.
I think they're decent, like straightish men, two better comedians. They're okay, but the two of them bouncing off each other, you want to talk about nothing. And then every female role is just a giant-titted nothing.
Well, that's the thing. Dwayne Johnson, who I'm a fan of, I don't really like his movies. They usually are bad. But
they're bad.
I think The Rock is the greatest wrestler of all time. I really mean that.
Okay.
You watch the heyday of Rock, the speeches and everything. It is stand-up comedy hilarious. So everybody goes, okay, well, he's hilarious. And it's like, well, no, that character is hilarious.
Right.
And even when that character isn't properly written, which started to happen towards the end, it's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like you're not putting, it's like, you don't put like the Adventures of Ford Fairlane, they were like, Dice, be Dice.
Yeah.
Because we want that character. That's funny.
Right.
And they don't do that with The Rock. And then like, everybody's like, well, why isn't this fun? It's like, well, because he's not, like you said, it's like, you got to pair him with Kevin Hart or something. Like,
yeah.
You know?
It was also longer than 2 hours.
That's insane.
And Joe, I'm going to tell you something now that might make your head explode. You don't see butt cheek 1. You don't see tit 1.
Right.
There's no nudity in this movie of any kind. Except the... and even... which I'll get to with it as well. Movie fat guys are at an all-time low. Funny movie fat guy. Like, we used to, like, churn them out like eggs at a chicken factory. Hilarious fat guys. The one in this movie is such a fucking turd. So you see him naked if you want to do that. And then
I said as a kid that I meant it. Like grade school and high school, I'd always say like I had a dream that one day I'd have a fat best friend.
Yes.
Because they were always the best part of the movie. You always wanted to befriend John Candy.
Correct. I mean, the last time they really got it right, I would have to say, is like Superbad 15 years ago.
Yeah, Jonah Hill.
I mean that's I haven't seen better. I mean, recently they're not inventing new. Actually, the fat kids in like 21. What's that movie? Project X. They were repellent. I hated him so much. You can't make the fat guy hateable.
No, we haven't had a good one in a while because everybody's got to be healthy now.
Yeah.
So then Jonah Hill gets skinny, and you're like, Jonah Hill, if you're listening, I don't care for it.
Right. And
I like you
like,
fat and funny.
On Entertainment Tonight or whatever, they'll be like, look how hot Jonah Hill. No, he's still horrible looking. But now he's not funny anymore. So you want to be funny or don't you?
Woo!
Oh, that's too far.
Shots fired.
That's too far.
The Walsh Hill.
Look, I'm not saying I'm Freddie Prinze Jr. over here either.
More like Freddy Krueger Jr. I had a great joke today at my friend who's got a big gut. It's a bad joke, but that's why it's a good joke. He was like, years ago when I lived in Miami, I lived at the Morton Tower. And I go, judging from your waistline, it looks like you lived at the Morton Steakhouse.
Did he enjoy it?
Yeah, we laughed heartily. It's a
All
great,
right,
shitty joke. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't need to apologize to me, Joe.
How
much more podcast? How much? I almost said how much more podcast has this civil become? How much more civil has this podcast become?
I hate it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate it. I like that we get along and it's nice, but I don't know. Hollywood is doing such a bad job anymore. We can't disagree on anything.
We need to pick something
crazy.
that we really disagree on, but I mean, maybe we don't on this week's either.
Excited for this new Badia. And by the way, let me say this now on the air. I think next week's ep should be us reviewing the finale of Twin Peaks.
Okay.
The 2-hour finale. We would have done it this week, but it is just too big, and
you got to talk about it.
Yeah,
like $150 million.
So that's by the way, here's what bothers me about the no nudity in Baywatch. I don't ever watch movies for nudity. I watch porn for it. But when your entire ad campaign is dick, ass, and tit jokes, to the point where
you do see a corpse's dick in it, so you do see some nudity.
And they were like, that's so edgy.
Yeah.
So my point is like, but when that's your whole ad campaign, when it's borderline like sexual harassment as you walk through a New York subway tunnel, and like the tits and cocks are so big in your face on the posters, it's like, and then you don't have any nudity in the movie, like fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
No,
it's one of the biggest bombs of 2017, by the way.
It's unwatchable. And then you know what happens at the end, folks? At the end of this 2-hour plus movie, Dwayne and The Rock Johnson walks into like an Islands, like that chain where you get burgers. Mm-hmm. They're all like sitting there eating on the beach, and Dwayne comes in and he's like, "Guys, got some good news for you. You're not trainees anymore. You're all lifeguards." And they're all like, "Yeah." And this thing was like an episode of Saved by the Bell Hawaiian style.
Right.
That's about how much plot there was to it. Then they'll try to drum up like,
"Oh, that's it? That's the whole scene?
That's the end of the movie."
There was like, you're going to say, and then there's this terrible Pam Anderson cameo or something.
Oh, there is. Actually, you're right. And that is after that, I think, in the movie. They go, oh, I think we've got someone else to join us, or someone else who might want to join us today for dinner or something. And then it's Pamela Anderson looking very odd.
Yeah, and somebody says, is that a corpse that hasn't eaten in 2 months?
Yeah.
Jesus
Hasselhoff
Christ.
makes an appearance as well. And then they try to do what 21 Jump Street and its sequel did really well, and they miss again and again, where they'll be like, wait, why are we solving crimes? We're just lifeguards, right? That's kind of weird. And then they cut over to Zac Efron, and he's like, I know, it sounds like the plot from some terrible TV show from the 80s.
Oh, my God. Fuck you, you fucking...
There are 3 scenes.
Assholes.
3 scenes where that's the joke, and it goes on and on and on by people who are not comedians. So Baywatch is one of the worst movies I've seen all year, unquestionably. It's terrible. And then the third was the best, I would say a noble failure, called A Cure for Wellness.
But it's still a strike 3.
It was, I think Gore Verbinski is an excellent visual director. Loved The Ring. Glad to see him getting back to horror. I love Mouse Hunt back in the day.
I'm going to say this about Gore Verbinski.
Yeah. Family Man. I mean, not Family Man. Weatherman. Love it.
More... well, I might be wrong. He's approaching more strikes than hits at this point.
For sure. He's done all the Pirates, correct?
Yeah, and I like
dog shit.
Well, I like the first one and the third one quite a bit. I think the second one is whatever. I think I did not like The Ring. We've talked about it.
That's crazy.
It's not crazy. It's not. There's one scary part, and then it's a mystery movie for the rest of it. It's very safe. It's boring. I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was that interesting.
Maybe we should do The Ring.
And I've also talked about how I hate when a ghost uses technology. I can't stand that.
Right.
So anyway,
Ring 2 is terrible, obviously.
Yeah. So I didn't like The Ring. I did like Mouse Hunt. But you know, he did The Lone Ranger, which I found enjoyable because I watched it with my mom. Mm-hmm. I would probably never watch it ever again.
Yeah.
You know, and now The Cure for Wellness is like I wanted to see it at first, but then I was like, you know, this looks like Shutter Island. I'm not a huge Shutter Island fan. Looks like it's all going to be in the guy's head at the end or something. And
it was a lot like Shutter Island. Like clearly influenced by it. And I love Shutter Island. It was not that good. I'm going to put it at like a B- because it certainly held my interest, and it was 2.5 hours long. I don't know.
Well, that's why I didn't go see it.
Why they're doing this shit with every movie now. But, I mean, for that guy to be the star of a movie that expensive, that dude who kind of looks like DiCaprio.
I don't understand what's going on with that dude.
No.
Look, no offense to him, but every movie he's been in has been a flop. He was in that movie. He was in Spider-Man 2
right.
as Green Goblin.
Right.
He was in...
I love Place Beyond the Pines, but
I never saw that.
It's a great movie.
He's in Valerian, City of a Thousand Planets. Like, he's in all these major... Every movie he's in, they go, let's put this kid dead front and center.
Yeah. He's too weird looking. I mean...
Oh, he's the kid from... that's right. He's from... what's the found footage movie where they get the superpowers?
Chronicle.
He's that kid.
Yeah. They push him because he looks like DiCaprio, but he looks like a more evil, less appealing DiCaprio, and that's why all these movies bomb. It's not like he's a good-looking guy.
Also, everybody forgets that DiCaprio, the early years, was like a white, trashy-looking, like ratty kid. Like he developed into Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
You know? So, anyway, too long. I just, no, not for me. I'm glad you saw 3 because I don't think I've seen anything this week except the Twin Peaks finale and It. So we'll do both of those over these next 2 episodes. Do you have anything else? Or
no, go for it.
Joe, scary stuff. Really, 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 really an excellent video game on Nintendo Switch, which I really am loving owning. They're very hard to come by, but I was lucky enough to find one at the Nintendo store in New York. Mr. Shifty. Fucking incredible game. You're a guy that has superpowers. Your superpower is you can teleport short distances, and it's a tower run game. So it's a tower beat 'em up. So it's you going into this building, trying to get to the top guy, and just beating the living shit out of everybody as you teleport around them, and they can't shoot you because you're moving too fast and disappearing. It's like the opening. I saw somebody review it online, and they said the game is exactly like the opening scene in X-Men 2 where Nightcrawler's going through the White House. That's exactly what it's like.
Okay.
So fucking fun. So
is it
fun.
hard to find because it's sold out?
No, it's a fantasy. This is for fantasy, horror, sci-fi stuff, just like the show. So go check that out. I think it's $14.99 to download it. And you can get it on other platforms other than Switch. So it's on Steam, and I think it might be on Xbox and PlayStation.
Never even heard of Steam.
Steam is
barely heard of Switch.
Steam is you haven't heard of the Nintendo Switch?
Well, you've mentioned it.
It's the latest video game craze thing.
All right.
Anyway, so that's it for that. We don't have to do a news segment this week. Nothing too... Well, here's my news segment. Let's start the review with this.
All right.
Every so-called horror aficionado under the fucking sun is saying that it is mesmerizing, is phenomenal, is terrifying, is a wonderful adaptation of the book.
Yeah.
And I think you have all lost your fucking minds. What the fuck are you talking about? This movie is not good.
I mention him all the time. He's a fantastic follow on Twitter. Gave him my first job at the Fanatical website, now defunct. Scott Weinberg, my favorite horror guy. If you like us, you'll love him on Twitter. He's great. Raving about this raving about it. And I get liking it. I get liking it. I don't get raving about it.
I religiously visit Bloody Disgusting. I religiously visit Movie Web.
Yeah.
I a lot of the time, most of the time, agree with the reviews on those sites. These fucking guys are like, the headline is, it's pure nightmare fuel. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I'm looking now, Rotten Tomatoes, 87%.
I agree with your statement. You can like it. It is not a movie to be loved. And here's why I'm taking a harder shot at the horror people that like it. If you know the source material, you know this is not a good adaptation.
That's true. I've been saying to everybody, some lady at work was like, am I going to like it? I'm going with my daughter. I said, have you read the book? No. Yeah, you probably like it.
Yeah.
If you read the book, you're not going to like it. The miniseries did a better job.
A much better job, surprisingly.
Yeah. It's scarier, and it's like kind of like a classier movie.
Yeah.
And they used effects very sparingly. And this, I mean, a clown is supposed to be scary on its own. Every time they show you Pennywise, big eel comes out of his mouth or something. Or he jumps at the camera. It's scary enough.
Right.
Except it wasn't, because he doesn't look like a normal clown.
Well,
he looks like, way too made up.
He looks like an evil clown, which makes it not scary anymore.
Right.
Tim Curry was scary because you just see this clown standing there staring at you,
right.
And he wasn't going out of his way to be like, look how crazy my eyebrows look right now. He just was, and it was scary because it let you imagine horrible things, and this doesn't do it.
Right.
The effects in the original miniseries were better because they did practical effects for like Pennywise's fangs coming out and all that shit. Yeah. This was all CG'd, which it didn't look as good. Now, I will say this. I had a really great online discussion with Eliza Skinner today about the movie, and she made some great points. So I'm gonna echo some of her points because I also think the same thing. I thought the movie started great. Like, I was pissed off that they took out Bill giving Georgie like shit because that's why he feels guilty later when his brother's dead. But I was like, okay, I can get past that. No big deal. You see the kid's arm get bit off? I'm like, oh my God, they're fucking going for this. Yeah. And then they proceeded from that point on to do nothing except remove every element of this story that makes it a valuable story.
Right.
The whole purpose of it is Pennywise, the deadlight. They don't even say the fucking deadlights. They never even say it once in the goddamn movie. Holy shit, I just remembered that. But anyway, Pennywise, all that shit. The whole point is he's a creature that awakens every 27 years and feeds specifically on people from the town of Derry, not just children.
Right.
Because there is such a history of hatred, unjustified hatred in the town. Now, that's the plot of the movie. That's why and then why does he target these kids over any other group of people? Because they're the losers club. Why are they the losers club? Because one's a black kid who gets racist treatment all the time. One's a Jewish kid who gets anti-Semitic treatment. One's a fat kid who gets fat shamed. Beverly Marsh gets slut shamed all the time.
Yeah.
And molested by her dad, which, by the way, that's the only thing they kept in the movie. They took everything out except the sexualization of a 14-year-old girl.
And weirdly, you could almost watch it and think maybe I read too much into that. It's almost too subtle. I don't want to see a sex scene, but if you're going to do it, don't have him put his hand on her shoulder and that's it. And then why was the pharmacist hitting on her to distract from her dad hitting on her? What was that about?
Because
she's a sexy kid? Is that the...
That's my point, is like the only thing they kept from the book was that she was being inappropriately sexualized. Yeah. And then also, I said this to you after we saw it, the film... she was depicted in a way in the film where it was troublesome to me. There's a shot of her looking at tampons, and it's clear to me that you're supposed to be focused on her ass in the fucking shot. And I was like, that's weird to me. That's weird. Don't show me a 14-year-old kid from the back wearing like Daisy Dukes. You know what I mean? It's odd. It's fucking odd.
Like when she walks past them like in slow motion in a bikini to jump into the water, I was like, this feels a little odd.
That's what I'm saying. That scene too.
However, let me also...
By the way, not a bikini, her bra and underwear.
Yes.
I get it. The boys were also in their underpants. But can we act like it's not the same exact fucking thing? Since boys already have to take their shirts off.
Well, they're also not doing slow motion lingering.
Well, that too.
Things over their packages.
Well, that's what Eliza sent me was I don't remember who sent it to her or who she retweeted it from, but it was a woman wrote, walking home alone from seeing it, not frightened at all, except for the fact that I was terrified by the camera violating like the 14-year-old girl in the movie the whole time. And I thought that was pretty spot on.
But let me say, because here's what I thought of. I felt it was a little weird at the time, and then read a couple articles about it and was like, yeah.
Hold on, my Alexa.
We set off Alexa.
My Alexa went off. Go ahead. Sorry. Say it again?
Yeah, but it made me think back to like when I was 13, let's say, and I saw The Sandlot. They're kind of sexualizing that lifeguard too, but the lifeguard in that movie is probably like 16 or something, and they're little boys looking up to her. So I wonder if The Sandlot came out now, and I haven't seen it in years, but of course it's a classic for kids. I always loved that movie.
Right.
I wonder if they'd be accused of the same thing back then.
I think there's a big difference between saying, here's a movie about a group of adolescent boys, and one tiny aspect of their life is they're all in love with the hot lifeguard that's 4 years older than them at the pool, and then taking this movie and saying the only female character we're going to focus on and the only inappropriate treatment we're going to take out of the book is how everybody wants to have sex with her. Right. It's weird.
Yeah, no,
it's
I agree.
Fucking weird. And if you're telling me somehow that's more palatable to an audience than like a scene about racism or fat shaming or something like that, that's crazy to me.
As we've talked about it on this podcast before, and we discussed how much you and I both love Stephen King's depiction of bullies. The only time really where bullies feel like as real as they did when I was a kid, because they're just like sociopaths, monsters. So in this movie, they'll bring out the switchblade, and you might have even pointed this out after we saw it, but
this is a spoiler, by the way. But go ahead.
I've seen it. This isn't even really a spoiler, but they're holding up a switchblade to the fat kid's stomach. He's got his shirt off, but no one calls him fat.
No, and then you watch Henry Bowers carve an H into the kid's stomach.
Yeah.
Literally. I'm not saying like the camera pulls away and that's what he does.
Right.
You see a close-up of the knife carving the H in the kid's stomach. So that's okay, yet they take out the part where they call him fat. They take out all the other unfair treatment of the kids.
They're beating the shit out of a black kid and never mention that he's black.
They do like a weird insinuation thing. And but now here's the problem. This is not obviously me saying I want racism in my movies. What this is saying,
you want realism in them, though.
Well, but the point of the whole point is unjustified hatred is how this thing can exist as a monster and feed on the town. When you take that out of it, now you have the Goonies have to fight a monster.
Stranger Things is what you have.
Yeah, and
that's exactly what they wanted, by the way.
Yeah, and there are a couple bullies in town that are jerks, and they do shitty stuff to these kids because one of them is a psycho, and that's about it. It's like, okay, so this is sort of just like my life growing up now. Like, I don't want my life. I want to see the kids from the book. They suffered worse, and that's what made them heroes at the end.
Right. I guess it's to not... Well, it's an R-rated movie. So that if they don't put bullying in movies because they think maybe it'll inspire kids to bully, why the fuck are the kids seeing it?
Then don't fucking adapt it. Then don't adapt it.
No,
and
I
don't
agree.
don't make, and by the way, don't make a fucking R-rated movie that's meant for children to see.
It is clearly meant for kids, yeah.
It's ridiculous. They ruin the Richie character. They take all of his, like, you know, his whole thing is like he does all these different voices and stuff. Right. Some of them, yes, are inappropriate and racist, but he thinks they're funny in the book.
Yeah.
It's part of why he's an interesting character. You don't have to disagree with him doing the voice, but you're like, this kid is a fuck around. He doesn't take anything seriously to the point of doing offensive voices to people.
Right.
And then he goes to the movie theater, sees the werewolf movie, and then has the werewolf encounter and gets scared straight and stops fucking around. Yeah. And that's not in the fucking movie. They took the fucking werewolf thing out of the movie. It's not in the goddamn movie.
I mean, it wasn't in the miniseries either.
No, it is. It is. Richie encounters like a wolf man or there's the scene in the miniseries where Richie is in the basement or the boiler room and encounters a monster.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
And I think they do the wolf man. I'm pretty sure. But like they show Richie straighten the fuck up in the miniseries.
Yes, they do show that, yeah.
You know, and they didn't do it in this. All they did was have the kid from Stranger Things put on glasses and say fuck every 3 seconds.
A lot of fucks.
It was Joe Pesci amount of fucks.
My issue is, especially at this time in American history, and you have a movie that is at its core about how hatred, racism, fear brings out a monster. Why would you remove that from your fucking movie? It's insane.
It's crazy.
Because the book is a masterpiece, and it has the potential to be a masterpiece of a movie. So it sounds like they got scared off by what the True Detective guy was doing. I'd like to hope that would be a movie I'd prefer more, but maybe it wouldn't have done $200 million this weekend.
No, it wouldn't.
That's all
have.
they care about.
This is a sanitized, in the wrong ways at times, very inappropriate.
Yes.
Movie. It is boring. I think it was disrespectful to the characters in the book to portray them this way. I really do think that. I can't fucking believe that Stephen King is giving it rave reviews over and over.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ. There was a time where you mentioned The Shining to the guy and he practically bit your fucking nose off over it. You know, and it's like, he's like, I had to see it twice. I wasn't prepared. It was so great. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
Like, this is, you know, I get it. He's also 75 and he's probably just like, I don't need to fight the battles anymore.
Right.
But I don't understand. I feel like everybody is on, and I'm saying this jokingly, I'm not making accusations. I feel like everybody's like on payola or something. I'm like, how do this many people that love horror think that this is so great?
Well, the truth is, if I'm comparing it to horror in general, like if I went and saw this and it was the new scary clown movie from the guy who made Mama,
right?
I'd probably be like, it was way better than most horror movies.
I agree.
But the bar is set very high with that source material, and we're never going to see that definitive version, and they're not going to get it right the second time around. No, and what they have committed to it too, of course. But
what we ended up with here, and look, maybe it too will right the wrongs of the first movie.
Why not do it Lord of the Rings style and do 3 and really just tell the fucking book? And you'd still be eliminating a lot, by the way, but. I mean, even at 2.5 hours, it felt very empty, and it felt like they were not getting under the surface of it.
It speaks, in my opinion, to this country's sick and weird obsession with children. The glorifying of children everywhere you look, the constant praising of children. And it started with Twitter. It started with social media. It started with.
I didn't expect this to go into an anti-children rant.
Well, but it started with this. Twitter and social media hit, and all of a sudden it was children need a voice that is as loud as adults. And
right.
I believe we need to listen to the children in this country. I don't think they need to be as loud as we are.
No,
and I do think
stupid.
A lot of adults are idiots and need to be put the fucking check and told to shut up too. But I think this movie speaks to the worst side of that equation, and it was very clearly to me an attempt to. Well, I knew it was going to be a problem once you started watching those fucking MTV award shows, and it was like the It Kids are here. I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we fucking go.
Yeah.
This is a campaign to make 6 kids celebrities. This is what this is. This is what it's been reduced to.
They did it for Stranger Things.
Yes.
It's everything about this new everything about them firing that first director, it all comes from Stranger Things. Because they're like, oh, we can do this now, when in actuality, Stranger Things owes everything to it. They don't get that. They think, well, now we should rip off the thing that ripped off it.
Right. Well, and
the thing and everything else that it ripped off.
And I do want to,
and I say that as somebody who's excited for season 2 of Stranger Things.
And I want to,
like Tarantino, they blend up their homages. I like the show, but let's stop.
I like it too.
I'm
becoming. I loved the trailer for season 2. I'm becoming less excited as it approaches, though, because I can't stand. Everywhere I fucking look, I see those kids, and I'm like, guys, for Christ's sakes. They're a fun bunch of kids. They're good actors. Can you stop making me try to love them or whatever? It's like weird. And then also too, it's not even weird. It's just celebrity shit. It's like, stop it. Stop telling me who I'm supposed to love. It's annoying. But I will say this, and this is a very positive thing. I mean, sincerely, every kid in this movie, every actor in this movie, fucking Sarsgaard, all of them, they were great. Yes. This was a great cast. It was a beautifully shot film.
Well, they had the best fat kid in ages.
Yeah.
Fat kid used to get, Sandlot, etc.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a great fat kid in a while. This kid, right when I saw him, I was like, I love this kid.
Yeah. It was a very, very...
Didn't get much to do.
No. Well, that's what I'm getting at. Very well shot, very well directed, very well acted. Terrible material, though. The script sucks.
Yeah.
And in fact, when I met the parents of the kid, they were like, "Did you like it? You just saw it tonight." And I was like, I think your son was great in it. I really do. He was excellent. All the kids were great. This is going to do very well for him.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. Honestly, though, I didn't like the movie that much. They changed too many things that I thought should have been in there. That being said, doesn't matter. It's going to do $600 gazillion this weekend.
Did they love it?
Huh?
Did they love the movie?
They didn't say.
Oh.
But they were also, it was a very cordial exchange. And I was actually kind of happy with myself that I didn't just go, "Oh my God, so good, so good." And I meant what I said. That kid's a great fucking actor, man.
Yeah.
He's a great actor. This movie I don't like the movie.
No, I agree.
Anyway. All right. That's our show, goddammit.
All right. We'll be back in 3 years with a review of It 2. And, it seemed like you guys liked it a bit more. Been watching the old Facebook page, and certainly the reviews show it. But I don't think it's that great a film. That's all I'm going to say.
Signing off. This is Joe DeRosa, at Joe DeRosa Comedy on Twitter and Instagram. This comes out, Monday. So this week I'm at the D.C. Draft House in Washington, D.C. 5 shows. If you're in the area, come on out and say hi. Should be a good time. And at the end of the month, I'll be at Scoops Fest in Vegas with Kurt Braunholer doing Emotional Hangs live. And also we'll be co-headlining a show. So come out to that if you're in the Vegas area. And check out Emotional Hangs if you can. And my Penthouse column, monthly, You Let Me Down. Patty?
I am on Twitter and Instagram at the Patrick Walsh, and tapings of my sitcom By the Book are 3 out of 4 Friday nights a month at Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank. Had a hellion come out to the show the other night. Left a real nice review. And also a nice review of Joseph, folks, because they showed the pilot before. If you want to come to a taping, it's very easy to do. Just Google it or shoot me a DM or something. I'll get you in. Other than that, that's all I got. We'll see you next week with probably Twin Peaks, and we'll see you in hell.
That was a HeadGum podcast.